Today on Gun Talk Nation, we're talking with one of the cooler guys in the industry, Vince Mann from Walther. What to do if you have a problem with a gun company. Also, he won't tell you, but he was once toured with Fishbone. Pretty cool. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Springfield Armory, Safariland, We Save Lives, Hodgdon Powder Company, Armscor, and Remington Ammunition. Hey, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, one of the coolest guys in the industry that you don't know, perhaps. So, and also one of the companies that's like, it's not fair to say they came out of nowhere because they've been around for, since your grandfather was shooting. But it seems like in the U.S., Walther has come on the scene hard and fast and strong the last several years. Welcoming into the show, Vince Mann. Welcome in, man.
Hey, how's it going again? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. So Vince, with Walther. So explain to people, what would you say you do here at Walther?
Well, being that you share the same name as the guy, you probably celebrate his entire catalog, huh?
Right.
Office space,
Yes.
right? But
Absolutely.
I'm a people person, damn it. So basically, I do the digital social media for the company. You'd think at nearing 140 years in business, although Walther US is, 2006, I think, officially.
Yeah.
We took over marketing for Walther USA, which had been done previously by an importer and then by another big player in the industry. And obviously, they didn't do much with the brand because they have their own brand. Why would they? So
Yeah.
Germany, Carl Walther company, they were like, hey, we need our own representation. And that's kind of how we happened upon the scene. And I mean, when I got picked up for the team, there were 4,000 followers on Instagram, maybe 2,500 on Facebook. And this is post when, as a firearms company, you used to be able to pay for, post boosting and everything else on social media. So we got in there, we scrambled, we did it super grassroots, and which was tough because, the PPQ was probably the big flagship aside from the PPK and PPKS models. And that was nearing gosh, man, it's almost 11 years old now. So it's like, how do you promote your brand when you have pretty much nothing new for the market, which is one of the things Walther US wanted to do. We introduced that PPQ 45, first 45 we ever made.
Right.
We started getting into the Q4 TAC and Q5 match models for competition shooting, and that picked up huge.
The Q5 match is kind of a special gun. It's a gun that if you shoot matches, the gun. No doubt. If you are like a hobbyist, I just buy a gun for concealed carry, or maybe whatever, you may not know it. But I mean, talk about that gun and what is it that people love about it? I mean, it's an all steel gun, right?
Well, the original model, the Q4 TAC and the Q5 match were polymer based on very close to the PPQ. And that's what launched us into the competition realm. And we had that win with Walther thing going on where, a lot of companies would put up a firearm if you won a match, and we were putting up cold hard cash if you placed top 3 in matches. And, it was very pricey, but it was worth it because people got to experience it, and that's one of the things you can touch a firearm. You can listen to what a manufacturer says about it all day, but until you actually shoot the thing, I mean, that's money where your mouth is kind of stuff. And that also led to the 30-day money-back guarantee on all our firearms, where it's like, buy it, shoot it as much as you want, and within that 30 days, if it's not for you, we don't want you to have another gun, paperweight in your safe. So you can return it to us directly. We give you what you paid up to MSRP plus your tax, and give you a label to ship it back directly to us. So, I mean, that's kind of a baller move, to be honest.
Yeah, the marketing department at Walther is either crazy or brilliant. And some of the stuff that you guys have done. I mean, so far, so it's going pretty dang well. Because the win with Walther thing, I know there were a lot of people that said, okay, if I win with a Walther, I could get extra money, and a lot of people tried it out and liked it.
A lot of them are on our shooting team now, to be honest. It's pretty awesome. It helped us kind of get that up and rolling too. I mean, we got some winners on that team. I mean, they may not be placing first all the time, but they're legitimate second A people who are very helpful within the competition realm as well as outside, like Gabby Franco. I mean, Kim, Gabby is now in like Virginia area, and she's like, man, she's standing up. She knows what socialism does. She, she's a citizen now. I mean, you want to feel lazy, go take a look at Gabby Franco's website. I mean, she's a mom, a student, a shooter, and a 2A advocate. Like, she will make you feel real lazy about how you're spending your day.
People like that. Well, I mean, because when someone comes from, Gabby's from South America. I mean, specifically Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, when they talk about freedom and the Second Amendment and how important it is, they know the other side of it. And we sometimes we get a little bit lackadaisical or whatever because we've just been here and we just like, well, this is just the way it is. Well, no,
take it for granted. Yeah.
Oh man, and she's awesome. That's when you deal with a lot of the pro shooters. You guys have the pro team. I've always said that winning is great. I mean, on a pro staff, you'd like to have really good shooters who win, but actually more important for most companies when they actually figure it out are those great ambassadors who can help you with R&D because they're out there using the products. They can help you as far as like being on shows like the stuff that we do or whatever. And that's just as important. If someone's wanting to be a pro shooter, it's not just only about the shooting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because as you know, as anybody who's spent enough time with firearms, they're just tools. Any hammer can pound a nail into the wall. Mm-hmm. And if you know how to yield that specific hammer, you're going to be great with it, regardless of what it is. Look at Instructor Zero. I mean, that guy, doesn't matter what gun he puts in his hand, he's, making awesome videos. I mean, just a tool. And that's the thing. Yeah. What makes our company worth dealing with, I guess, or what makes us unique to the industry? We always get asked, like, you guys going to release a 360 or something to compete with the 10 round, all that stuff. And like, we're not a Me Too company. We're not going to release a gun just because somebody else is doing it. Like, we have so many new projects coming that I'd love to talk about, but I like my job, don't want to get fired. But if there were something that was similar to something out there, there would be massive improvements over what currently exists. And it'll bring add some new value to the market, which is, again, we're just not going to do it for the sake of, hey, look, we have one too. That's not our jam.
Well, and also, I mean, you alluded to it, but when we talk about Walther and Walther US, it's important for people to understand you have this parent company, which is giant. I mean, Walther over in the rest of the world and where they're headquartered out in Europe is, I mean, what's the size? It's a big supportive parent company.
There still aren't that many people with the company, especially compared to like what you might think our top 3 or 4 competitors are. I don't know the actual numbers in Germany, but I know there's factory, in Arnsberg and in Ulm. So, I mean, aside from that, I mean, there's just great product development people. We're lucky enough to have a gentleman named Bernhard who is over there, and he was put in place to help liaise between the U.S. market and Germany. So, we're no longer asking for more PDPs and getting a bunch of P22s, which is like, don't build just the parts you have to help support us. And that's been massive, especially with the new products coming and the new ones we just launched. So, I mean, it's a very family-oriented type of company. It's really bizarre in the way the industry is for us to be the way we are.
Another thing that I've noticed over the years with Walther, and people have really enjoyed the grip and the trigger. That's been a big focus for you guys. You guys have put that out there a lot. But in the past, I would say that there were features and functions on the gun that I like to call European features and functions, like a mag release paddle versus a button, or some of those things. But a lot of that has changed and been updated over the course of the last several years.
Right. I mean, if it were up to me, all guns in the industry would have a paddle release. I think it's a superior design, and
it's
I know
not wrong or right. It's just what you like.
Right. And it's like if people would spend enough time learning to utilize that and how ergonomic it is, but again, not being a gigantic company, we can't sit on 10 years worth of inventory by designing something that never pays for itself. I mean, it's maybe 1 in 100, if that may be very generous, that want a paddle release over the push button. It's just it's part of this market. So, I mean,
Vince is laying it down. He's like, look, all you people are wrong. I'm telling you,
right.
Paddle release is where it's at, right. Man. You just don't know.
Right. But again, I mean, I can use both. It's a hammer. You know what I'm saying? I identify what I'm using, pick it up. I can run an AK, I can run an AR. Just knowing what you have in your hands and how it, the battery of operations, how does it function? I mean, it's very simple. But I get when people are either hate it or love it. I mean, it's a very divisive thing. You want to get a good post if you're a social media influencer out there, be like paddle release versus push button, go. I mean, your comments blow up. It's
just cheap arguments, just fighting.
Right.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, you're right. The more you use any particular gun and the features and functions of that gun, you get super comfortable with it. You'll be able to run it. And we've seen that with different weird products. I mean, I shoot from the left shoulder, but I can run right-handed guns, no problem, because I'm used to doing it. Vince, hold on 1 second. We'll be right back. We got to thank a couple sponsors. CrossBreed Holsters has holsters for any way you choose to carry a gun, whether that's the Super Tuck, Mini Tuck, Reckoning, Snap Slide holsters, belly band, and gun belts. I wear a CrossBreed Holsters gun belt most days because they're thick, they're strong, and they make it really easy and comfortable to carry a gun. Check them out at crossbreedholsters.com. Also, Armscor Rock Island Armory. They do ammo and they do guns. One of their newest ones, and ones that's kind of cool, is the VRF-14. This is a semi-auto, short barrel, 12 gauge firearm. Has a pistol grip, 5-round magazine, so it's a magazine-fed semi-auto. It's made in America. Check them out at armscor.com. Also, Lockdown. Lockdown has all these innovative products, whether it's keeping track of your guns and what's going on with the puck, or kind of the dehumidifiers for your gun room or your gun safe. But they actually have something going on right now where you can find out what type of firearm owner am I, and then they kind of recommend different products for you. So you can take the quiz and check it all out at lockdown.com. So Vance, let's talk about the new. I mean, the gun you guys brought out this year kind of set the world on fire because it was not like new lipstick on a pig. It was a brand new product for you guys.
Right. I mean, you look at kind of what we've done over the past number of years. Like I said, a lot of the stuff, including the polymer Q4 and Q5 match, were product line extensions. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? One of the first things we did, just kind of slapping convention and trends in the face, was that steel frame, which people were like, why would you want that? I'm like, weigh it. It weighs, about the same as like a 1911. So it's carryable. We've got guys at work who carry it. I mean, it's a great gun.
And I should say it's the PDP we're talking about. I didn't mention the name of it.
Very slow roundabout.
The Walther PDP.
Right.
And I mean, that was your big release at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are running this gun and really catching on to how much they like it.
Right. And I've seen people mention like, oh, everybody got one but me, like sending them out. We sent out 10 of them. You know what I mean? It was everywhere. But we sent out 10 guns to people to review, and, most of the people bought the guns and kept them. But it was just, the PPQ series was retrofit for an optic. That gun was not designed. There was really nobody running a red dot. So when we started the new project, we're like, we want to start with the red dot because that's how, that's where it's going.
Okay.
It's the right way.
So really building a gun that's built to have a red dot on top.
Right. And there were so many things that over the years, listening to people on social media and via emails to service, talking about what they didn't like about the PPQ. Those were all, we have a, Excel document that has all the gripes and stuff. And we worked hard to address all those things. Down to having, an optic ready platform where the rear sight is still there. That was the issue retrofitting the Q series. You had to end up working on a plate that had an integrated rear sight, but you would lose your sight when you went to a red dot. So that was another thing. And we know the grip texture was another. Here in Arkansas, getting up to 100 degrees in the summer, I mean, you're sliding all over the old PPQ, and that new tetrahedron or Cubert video game looking pattern on the grip of the PDP is just, I mean, it's spot on. And it's, it's still not abrasive enough to, tear you up if you're carrying.
That's the trick, right? It's got to be aggressive, but if you're actually going to carry it, especially like inside the waistband against your body, you don't want to rub all the skin off your body.
Right, for sure.
But we actually put it on a macro lens, got really close up to look at this. Explain that grip texture, but also explain, how did you guys do that? Because it's pretty intricate. It's not just dots.
Right. It's very similar to the grips that were on the steel frames. That was one of the major successful things that we heard feedback on that steel frame series. And it's, again, you'd have to Google tetrahedron as a shape. If you ever remember the old video game Cubert, it's basically how those cubes looked on there. But they're extruded, but suctiony almost. It's really bizarre. About in hot weather, the only grip problem you're going to have is your support hand getting sweat, coming off of that way. But right. It's just some more German sorcery, whatever they're doing on the grip angle, on the trigger. People try to get that same kind of a feel down, but it's just one of a kind. There's just some guys over there that are just, they listen to what we want. We go back and forth on 3-4 versions of it and then come out with a successful one and kind of put them all together. And that's the PDP. Yeah.
It's a shooter, and it's not a small gun. Look, this is not a compact or super compact gun. You have two sizes.
Yeah, standard, like PPQ size is considered the compact, and compact and full size only refer to the frame size. So the compact is 15 round magazine and the full size is an 18 round magazine. So, and then you have slide differences. So you'll have a 4-inch, 4.5 into 5-inch slide options.
So you said you built this because you specifically, one of the big deals is you wanted to have it built for a red dot.
Right.
When you guys were designing this and putting it together, are there certain things that are a challenge to make a pistol run with a red dot the right way?
Yeah. Anytime you remove material, put new material, because the gun has to run, and the plate that's on there is a polymer plate that covers up where the optic is seated. So you're removing that, you're not getting much weight taken off, but then it has to run with the, the red dot on there, which is maybe a minute amount of weight, but there's still different weight with a reciprocating slide with that kind of violence in 9mm. Again, it's just, I wish I was the guy. I'd probably be, riding around my Aston Martin instead of talking to you on Zoom right now if I had those answers. But, I'm a people person, damn it. I talk to people.
I just relay to the engineers what needs to happen from marketing. That's my role. Right. I let the engineers talk to people. No, but I know that it is true. The weight of the optic can affect the way the gun functions, or if the gun even functions properly. Right. And that's part of the problem or challenge that I've heard from a lot of different people. It's kind of one of the reasons why maybe a big heavy, I say heavy, like it'd be a red dot's not super heavy, but a heavy red dot may not run the same way as a real lightweight one. Right.
Yeah. Again, you have nominal differences between like an aim point and like a lightweight hollow sun or something like that, or a RMR. So it's not that much different, but there are other things that are kind of cool. Like we use the same recoil spring regardless of the length of the slide. The compact model can handle PPQ mags, which makes it an easy transition for anybody who had a PPQ into making a decision to pick up a PDP. You're not having to buy a whole bunch of new magazines. And again, I wish I had more on the engineering side of things, but I kind of just help relay information of what people wanted as opposed to how to accomplish it, in my role.
Well, I know people are liking it. Vince, I got a couple more people to thank for their support. One of the newest rifles from Smith & Wesson is the MP15 T2 rifle. Yes, it's an MP15, it's an AR-15, but they've put a lot of cool features into this, including ambi controls, flat face trigger, M4E flash suppressor. They've also updated the pistol grip to be M&P pistol grips that have interchangeable back straps. I really like it. It's very comfortable. Check it out at smith-wesson.com. Also, Springfield Armory, the XDM Elite 3.8 compact OSP in 10 millimeter. More power, and OSP means it's optical ready, optical sight pistol. So now you can put a red dot on it. You can get it with the Hex Dragonfly red dot on top. It holds 11 rounds in the magazine, so it's 11 plus 1, fully ambidextrous controls, and it has all those other features that the Elite has, like the meta trigger. Check them out at Springfield-Armory.com. Also, Safariland, the 575 IWB holster. It's designed to fit multiple firearms in that one holster. So we always say you're going to end up with a box of holsters. Well, maybe not if you get this one. It's also optics capable, and it's adjustable for cant, and it has a grip lock system for security. And we have a code for you, GunTalk20Q4. You'll get 20% off at checkout at Safariland.com. So let's talk about concealed carry, because it's interesting. There are several people I know who I respect their opinion on guns and all this stuff, and they carry Walthers. And it's interesting because they go, I just shoot it well. It carries great. I mean, what are some of the ones, or I mean, frankly, what are you carrying, and what seems to be the ones that are hot from Walther that people are liking?
I mean, again, so many people in the industry, companies in the industry have been going towards like very compact or the stack and a half and, single stack guns, that people are starting to realize now that you can carry a compact, like 4-inch slide gun just as comfortably with the new, the invent of, you have holsters with wings now, and with the wedges. I mean, you can bury a good sized firearm on your body very easily with the right holster and the right belt. So, and you automatically go from 10 rounds to 15 to, if you have a backup with, a +5 extension on it or what have you. I mean, you're no longer having to carry 2 or 3 mags or worry about capacity. So that's one of the reasons we went with the sizes we went with on the PDP. So, yeah, I mean, I'm carrying a 4-inch PDP compact right now. I go between that and the PPS. I really like the PPS, especially for shows. If we have like more dress clothes on, it's an inch thick, and it's the optic ready version, which we're getting ready to release a new one that will come with a compact hollow sun on it. So that should be out pretty soon.
Ooh,
so,
okay. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of. People go, oh, what gun should I carry? I'm like, no, you're missing it. You probably need to have 2 or 3 different options. And you kind of mentioned it, you're dressed differently. You got to have different options. It's for most of us carrying the same gun the same way all the time. If you're carrying it most of the time, if you're carrying it every day, all day, the reality is you got to have some options. Right.
Yeah. That's the truth, man. I mean, I have more 9mm than I could shoot and clean in a day. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things you dress for the weather, you carry for how you're dressed. You know what I mean? It's just, and find the right holster. That's the thing. I see people posting on the forums like, hey, what's the best holster out there for a PDP? It's like, man, you're going to end up with a plastic container full of holsters before you find the one that's for you, based on your body type and everything else. And just don't stop looking until you find it. You got to be comfortable, because you're carrying a very important piece of kit around with you all day.
Yeah. It's totally personal, and the holster, the gun, all that stuff.
Right.
Preference on the way you carry.
Appendix. Once I went to appendix, I couldn't get back to carrying anywhere else in my body. And I'm not what you might call fit, but there's people out there that are proving that you can carry appendix regardless of your body size. One of our defense division guys, Scott Jedlinski, Jedi from Modern Samurai Project, right. That guy crushes appendix carry. And there's a guy on Instagram called Guy EDC. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. He's he'll train harder than 90% of the people I know. And you know what I mean? This guy is amazing. So, and he carries appendix. It's just in the right spot. I mean, for carrying, traveling, moving. I mean, I carry an appendix on my motorcycle. I mean,
Wow.
I do have a left-handed appendix holster for my motorcycle because your throttle hand's the right hand, and you know what I mean. But
okay, yep.
But I can shoot both hands. I'm fortunate to have broken my right hand as a younger kid and spent almost a year using my left hand, and that I just kept going with that. So one of the reasons I like paddle release too. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good point.
But
it's very, very ambi.
Yeah. And that, you know, that goes with our slide stop and, you know, slide release, that being nice, full, and ambi as well. But yeah, appendix carry is how I prefer to carry.
It's a good point. What you're saying is like people who actually train, because I think a lot of people like to argue about
you'll shoot your joke off.
Dude, all that stuff, right? And you know, whether it's appendix or not, or how many magazines, or running it with a flashlight, or all these different things that people are going to argue about. But how often do you actually shoot? How often do you actually train with your rig? Because here's my thing is I don't care how you carry, as long as you're comfortable with it, you're proficient with it, you're safe with it. Right. But most people go to a pistol class and they run outside the waistband, strong side, and they shoot 1,000 rounds in a couple days. Yeah. And then they go back and carry like that again. Yep. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense at all. I mean, you might as well just go out and practice accuracy at that point, because you're not, it's going to do you no good muscle memory wise or anything else. And you know, that goes along the new motto we have basically is it's your duty to be ready. Like we can make a phenomenal firearm that 99% of people will never be able to outshoot that gun. But we can't train for you. We can't do dry fire practice for you. I mean, there's things that as a firearm owner, you should want to take responsibility for. You take a concealed carry class, that doesn't mean you know what you're doing. That means you have the intro to it. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
It's like
you got the card.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, we always say it's like a driver's license. Like, okay, now you're allowed to drive. It doesn't mean you're an awesome driver.
Mean you're good at it. Yeah.
As we see on the road every single day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
So Vince, all right. So you're a gun guy. You've been in this industry for a while, even beyond what Walther does. You're a gun guy. I got a couple questions. Because there are a lot of interesting trends going on in the last few years and moving forward.
When it happens, I can feel it. I can feel a setup when it's coming up, but let's do this.
So you never know, right? Right. All right. Trends that are going on or seem to be coming. Trends what's one trend that you like? There you go. Get ready for it.
All right.
And what's a trend that you wish didn't exist anymore or would just go away? Could be a social media thing. Could be a product thing. Could be a whatever thing.
So give me the first one again.
All right. So a trend in our gun world.
Right.
That you like, that you're like, this is cool. I'm glad that I'm seeing this or whatever. And then one that you don't like, you wish would just go away forever.
The red dots is the trend that I'm happier than anything else to see going on. And there's still people like, oh, they're not as good. They're not as good as iron sights. And it's like, you know, it's all shaky. Lay that gun on the table, then look through that window. That's not shaking. It's you. You can figure out how to steady yourself, get a better grip, breathe differently, squeeze that trigger differently. And once you do, that's going to translate to your iron sights too. Because believe it or not, that dot may look shaky when you first pick it up, but your hand's doing that with iron sights too. When you go back to, you get it down on the red dot and go back to iron sights, you're going to be better on iron sights as well because you got rid of a lot of those bad habits.
That's a good point.
So that's the one thing. And I expect that to stay unless there's something even beyond red dots on pistols in the future, which who knows, there could be, but
yeah, but for now, and I agree, I don't think that it is a fad. I think people are figuring out, I mean, it's not new. Like red dots on pistols have been several decades, but now it's just the products, the optics themselves are so durable that you can actually, and small, that you can run them on a carry gun. That's just kind of a game changer. All right. Now what about one that is out there in the world, could be online, whatever, that you're like, all right, enough of this?
Oh,
putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
I'll tell you mine. Well, I can always gripe about anything, but one of the trends I like right now is the custom builds. People doing builds, whether it's ARs or it could be. God, they're tricking out everything. You probably see builds on Walther stuff. I imagine people tricking out Walthers.
Yep.
Which I like that. It's fun. It's also a way to kind of get the message out there that yes, people make and tweak their own guns. It's been legal since before the country was founded, so it's not a new idea. Right. Democrats over there in Washington, it's not a new idea.
Right.
The one I could do without right now that's been irking me lately, that I'll go on a rant occasionally, is the people bagging on a particular gun thing amongst ourselves. And I'm like, I don't care if the guy is a quote unquote FUD and he carries, an old Ruger single action revolver.
And a nylon holster. Leave him alone, encourage him, help him grow. It's like, be a community where you're not intimidating new firearms owners. We're all the same. Don't get down on hunters. Don't get down on people that, shoot waterfowl. Like it's all those rights are under fire right now. And the more you're divisive within the community, the more you're doing exactly what they want you to do. Support each other. Just stop the name calling. Who cares if somebody, again, is carrying a nylon holster? Maybe explain to them why there's other better options instead of calling them a FUD or whatever, making them feel bad and not want to share in the community anymore. Like, that needs to end. That's definitely, I can see that. And that would be my biggest gripe, is people not being compassionate and helpful within the community for other people. They claim to know, a lot more. The first people that talk to about anything, calling something out in a picture or whatever. I mean, those are generally the people who probably aren't shooting that much anyway. They just know a few things and they're regurgitating them. I mean, it may not be from personal experience. It's somebody they look up to in the industry that may be an influencer or whatever that said something, and they're continuing to pass that along to other people. Just stop, man. Just stop.
Have you actually tried these things yourself, or you were just repeating things you heard?
Right.
Well, and also a lot of times the guy carrying the Uncle Mike's holster or whatever, he might be awesome on gun rights. He may be writing his senator every single week, and you might be the 23-year-old who's got several Glocks who's making fun of the FUD. But have you done anything this week, this month, this year to help gun rights?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That guy may be on a first name basis with his senator. Just relax. Relax. You don't know who somebody is, and people got gigantic cojones when it comes to social media. And, people will still hit our social media up and say just irrational things. And it's like, if you only knew that the customer service guy you're talking about is one of 5 people down there and he's crying right now because you broke his feelings. No, he's not, but you know what I mean? It's like, there's people on the other end. And I mean, like I said, us not being a huge company, everybody knows what's going on. And it's, we try to be as helpful as possible, man. You'll see our posts, and everybody on our team is out there fielding stuff, whether it's coming directly from Walther or our personal accounts. It's, we're listening and we're paying attention and trying to improve ourselves, I guess.
Another area that you guys, and I love this because I think it's a way to bring more people in, and maybe some different people, is you've got 22s, you've got the P22, and you also make guns that are used in like the Olympics. You have like these wild competition guns that are super accurate. Do you hear from people who were saying like, I shot my first gun and it was a Walther because it was a 22?
Yeah. In fact, on the Walther shooting team, Gabby Franco, she was on the Olympic team in her home country before she moved here in the Olympics shooting a Walther. And then all this number of years later, she's on Team Walther shooting 9mm steel frame in competition for us. It's like the full circle of that. A lot of people, we were at USCCA last weekend, and we had people coming up telling us how the first gun they shot 10, 15 years ago, like P22. It's like, okay, that's awesome to hear. You know what I mean?
That is cool.
Now they're carrying 3-4 different models of our gun, and So yeah, man, 22 is an important thing. You can't, when somebody's starting out shooting firearms, don't put a 45 or a 40 in their hand. Step them up. I mean, we got airsoft and then BB guns and then 22 of the PPQ, for instance. And it's like, don't turn somebody off by scaring them, just because you're a manly man. I mean, 22 is an important element for teaching new shooters.
So you just got done with a big consumer show, the USCCA show.
Right.
Usually there's at least one good story from working the booth at a show and having people come up and tell you stories or ask you interesting, funny questions. Was there anything that popped out from this past week where you guys were out there?
Oh, so many. It's like, because I am who I am. I'm more of a creative person than I am. I'm not really a salesperson. So I have conversations with people because I refuse to say the same thing over and over again. That's just that is not how I operate. I would be hanging right now behind you with a vacuum cleaner cord if that was my life. But I mean, every story was crazy, from people who walk up mad and it's like, all they want to do is be heard. You listen to them, you help them out, you get a resolution for them. People are like, I can't find a mag. This gal was in a wheelchair. This is one of the best stories. And her husband was wheeling her around and she had a PK 380, and we've had some difficulty getting magazines because the pandemic had shut down a lot of places. And so the whole chain of, the whole supply chain was kind of jacked up. And, I walk into the back room and I pulled out one that was on one of the sample guns and gave it to her. It's just like,
awesome.
She was in that wheelchair. She couldn't run from a threat or anything. She had a couple mags and it's just like, I don't have the answer you want telling you, you can go right here and get this magazine now. I can tell you that they're on freighters right now in the ocean. There's about 70 of them backed up that are kind of waiting to unload and stuff. But, it's being able to actually fix somebody's gripe. I think that's the most rewarding part of that. Not that I want to hear everybody's problem, but if you have one and it's reasonable, let's figure it out. I mean, that's kind of how we are as a company anyway. I mean, we know we're not perfect. We're just a family group of people that, hang out and shoot together. I mean, let's fix it. That's probably the best. And I mean, there's always 50 people who are like, oh my, talking about the PPK and how their grandpa got one off of a Nazi officer. It's never a regular Nazi soldier, but it's always an officer.
He was Hitler's right-hand man.
Right.
Always.
And between the past 10 years, all the shows I've been to, it's like there hasn't been one that was just like, found off of a regular old dude. It's always like, so it's funny.
The grandpa's going to bring home a good story, like a good one.
Yeah.
Not like, he's not going to tell you he found it in like a kitchen cupboard of someplace.
Right. 15 hours after the battle happened, his crew rolled through town. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was one of those kind of like, and again, props to the Gramps, keep those stories alive, but that's not worth it.
What's the harm in a good story? Whatever, it'll live on forever.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, it's true. Talking about that lady that was looking for the mag, you guys are just like a lot of the companies in our world, in our industry. They want people to be happy and they want everything to be just right. And it's funny because these are mechanical devices and stuff happens. I mean, we're in a really good time where there's like, everything's pretty damn good quality. Yeah. But if something happens, we always reach out to the company. Have you reached out to the company? Well, I know I haven't. Well, you should. And then we'll hear back and they go, that was the best. They said, just send us the gun. They sent it back to me the next week and it was fixed, or whatever the issue might be.
Exactly.
So I'm glad to hear that you guys were able to take care of her.
I mean, realistically, think about things that you've bought that were between $400 and $700 and think about the lifespan of those. And now think about the majority of the firearms you have in your safe or that you carry every day. The fact that they work as reliably and as well as they do for as long as they do, if your spring wears out after 6 years, 5 years, 3 years, those things are perishable. Like reach out. We're here. We have the parts. We're going to fix it. We got lifetime warranties. Most of these companies will take care of you. I mean, there's a resolution. Being big mad all over social media is doing nobody any good. Like let us fix it.
And you guys will do better than the washing machine or refrigerator companies, I'm sure.
Yeah, everything now is disposable. I figured that out last time I had to replace my refrigerator. Can't fix this. Throw it out.
Well, good. Vince, good to see you. Thanks for being on with us.
Yeah, you too, man. Great seeing you.
You take care. And for everybody listening, we will see you guys next time on Gun Talk Nation.